Alofa lava, welcome. This is Tech Voyagers episode 3. I have the amazing Ruby and Faith here, who I'm so excited to get to share their stories as role models in the space of digital tech as Māori and Pacific. So super pumped to have you both here. Yeah, so I just love for you to both kind of introduce yourselves. Who are you?
Yep, so I was born in Tamaki Makaurau, but I grew up in Kiowa, which is like an hour southeast, with my mum. And my mum is Pākehā, and my grandparents, her parents live in Maungawhau. So I spent a lot of time there in the holidays. And then on my paternal side is a man I do not know, but he is apparently Tongan.
Hey.
So but I have made some connections to my family. And I grew up interested in lots of things, sport, making stuff and music. And then in high school, I went to Hauraki Plains College, and I got really into music and also woodwork.
Cool.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Yeah. Wow.
I'm just going to mention that because tech.
I love this.
I
thought you were offering to make us some amazing items. That's what I thought we were going to do. We're doing a plug for a side hustle. Or is that not it?
I think I got enough jobs at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. True.
But no, it is significant because so I've become a musician.
Yeah.
But I really liked woodwork, and so that's like technology. So you learn about technological processes, design thinking, stakeholders and briefs and all of these things that I just enjoyed doing at school. And then when I went to Auckland Uni to study music, the songwriting degree.
Wow.
And I did that for
He was busy.
I did that for I guess I'm 26, so
Are you only 20? Wow. Damn it, I'm old.
You're not old.
I'm 30 this year.
Yeah, 30's.
You should have seen her face yesterday when I said that. You should have seen it.
Because I thought you were in your 20s.
She had an allergic reaction in front of the whole group of people we were sitting around. Like,
What? Are you 30?
and I was like, fuck, Faith.
I thought she was in her 20s, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I am 29 for like 6 more months. Anyway, back to your story, Ruby. Sorry to interrupt.
That's fine. That's all good. So I started a songwriting degree at Auckland University, and then I left halfway through, and then I'd made a good connection with my guitar tutor, Jeremy Toy. So I was hanging out with him in his studio kind of towards the end of uni and afterwards, and making music together.
Nice.
And sort of, I guess he was mentoring me unofficially, because I was sort of getting exposed to like all of these things in music that he was doing.
Amazing.
Which was like world opening for me, because where I went to high school is in the Hauraki Plains. It's kind of like a rural agricultural kind of area, and there's not much of like a music scene in the same sense. So going to the city made a lot of sense, but I just didn't realise that. So when I was in high school, I was like, okay, music's my passion. I love music, but all I kind of thought, like the pathways that I could see were either to be a music teacher, like my music teacher, or to become a pop star.
Oh, wow.
You know?
It wasn't even a TikTok
Pretty
star
good.
at that time?
No TikTok back then.
No TikTok back then. TikTok wasn't
YouTube.
YouTube. Oh, yeah.
YouTube, but I had dial-up at my house to 2014, so that was never going to happen. So it was eye-opening to see Jeremy playing live music, writing music for ads.
Wow. Whoa, that's actually pretty big.
Yeah, because he's a producer and musician, and recording other people and like calling in his friends to do favours and then getting them to play on my songs, and just there was this whole network, and I was like, whoa. And then one day I came to his studio and he asked me if I needed any work, And I just left uni, so I was like, yeah, do.
Someone's got to pay the bills.
Something to do something, yeah. And then he said, oh, cool, well, I'm like kind of helping out my friend with this new like music software thing, and you just have to like type this code. And I remember seeing it on his computer, and I was like, oh, I don't know how to do that, Jeremy, like I've got no idea. And then he basically just said to me like, yeah, you can do it, like you can totally learn how to do it. And I just saw this like matrix scribble on the screen, like, it was so foreign to me. I didn't know, and I was so intimidated by it. But anyway, Jeremy kind of made me feel like I could do it. So, and to be honest, he had been sending me like plugins, saying like, oh, I should download this plugin, like it's free, but it'll make that sound you like. And I'm like, cool, don't know how to install this plugin, like, but it was always on the assumption that I would be able to figure it out. And I think that was really helpful to lead me into sort of learning how to do techie stuff on another level.
Wow.
So then I went to an interview for this job at this company called Melodics.
Yeah.
And I sat down with the CEO, Sam Gribbin, and he interviewed me about music and tech. And he asked me, have you had any experience with technology? And I said, oh, I did woodwork at high school.
Woodworks.
Yeah, and then he went, oh, like digital, like computers and stuff. And then I was like, oh, well, I was 19 at the time, so I was sort of a little bit like, yeah, I can use a computer.
Yeah, like, come on.
But yeah, and then some music related questions, and then I just started there. But then I realised that learning design thinking, working through briefs, kind of like finding an issue and then trying to figure out a solution for it, considering different stakeholders and processes and all of this stuff was very much a part of the job and the music. So in a way, I didn't have like the training of how to, so I had to learn how to read and write a little bit of code. That wasn't my main job. It was almost as if I had a form to fill in.
Yeah.
And then I had to learn how to use Ableton, which is music making software.
Cool.
And it's kind of intimidating and complex at first. And then the tools that were specific to the job and things like that.
And what is the job? What is the job name?
I think I'm a instrument lead on the music team. Yeah.
Lead.
Yeah, lead even.
Yeah. So we teach pads, keys, and drums, electronic drums. So these are all MIDI instruments that you would plug into your computer. And I am the instrument lead for pads.
Cool.
So basically what that means is I teach finger drumming through a computer's app.
Let that sink in, eh? I'm like, I wish we asked you to bring something in so I could have actually seen it and visualized it. So you develop the software.
I don't develop the software, but
there's a point at which your brain and your work passes over to another person with another set of skills that then becomes the software that a user would learn. Like if they were to sign up to Melodics, for example, and they wanted to learn finger drumming, that would be your work that they're learning.
Yeah, at least curated by me or
Wow.
run past me at some point.
Wow.
Most of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So the job kind of, it's, like when I started, I couldn't tell anyone and stuff. There was an NDA.
Oh wow, you were that.
Yeah, I was there, I've been there for over six years, I think.
Wow.
Because I was 19 and now I'm 26, so maybe longer than that. I've stopped counting. But I had to sort of first understand what finger drumming was.
Yeah, I don't know what finger drumming is.
I hadn't done that before.
Yeah, okay.
So like beat pads.
Oh yeah.
So like MPC or like push, and then like these little square pads, and they light up, and then if you touch them, like a drum sound plays, or a keyboard sound, or your vocal sound, or I don't know,
You know how we were
cow
talking-
moves, it depends, whatever you want to do.
You know how we were talking about Tekken before, and how I'm like, I love Tekken. You just finger bash.
Yeah.
It sounds like a little bit of that, but noise,
Yeah.
music noise comes out.
Absolutely. So now there's an
I'd
app.
hate to see me on this thing, and I'll be like, oh wow.
Oh, I would love to see you on this. So now there's an app that you download to your computer, and then if you have one of those, you can plug it in, and then you can just click on a little picture, and then that'll bring up this little learning environment, and there'll be sounds on your pad controller, and you can click play, and then there'll be these little squares on the screen, kind of like Guitar Hero
Yes.
or whatever.
Yes.
And then you just play along, and so you'd have a great time. You don't have to know anything, or
I love very like you do. You admit the
You actually
you
would be
you get over the bar. You'd get over the bar.
be a perfect candidate.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the only prerequisite is that you. I don't even think you'd need fingers to play. Something to hit the pads. I love that. It's true. Yeah. I'm just trying. It's accessible. Yeah, for most.
It's accessible.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Anyway,
So
that's
you've been
a really big nutshell about me.
no, that was iconic, by the way. The woodwork for me, though, it was the woodwork for me. But 7 years you've been working in the tech industry.
Yeah, but I feel like I've only really been conscious of that for like a few years, because it took me ages to be like, oh, I work in tech. Like, I just slipped into it, like. I never imagined working in tech. Like, that was never like a goal of mine or anything like that. Like, I didn't even know that it was an industry.
Yeah.
I didn't know how,
100%.
Yeah. And I definitely didn't ever think that what I do now was ever a job or could be a job.
And that you get paid for it?
Yeah, they pay me.
Wild.
It's pretty cool.
Wild.
It's pretty cool, and they take very good care of us at Analytics.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It's an awesome company.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, well, we're going to come back to that. But hey, Faith.
Wow.
Sorry, Faith, I
I
talked
feel
so much.
Unprofessional.
No, you're here for your voice and your story. You know that.
Well, hello, my name is Faith. I'm 17. I'm a first year at AUT and I'm studying digital design. With my degree, we're learning about animation and VFX, which is visual effects for like movies or like animations. We're also doing game design as well.
Wow.
And of course a little bit of theory because you gotta have writing in there. I come from a family of 9. I am the third youngest, so there's 2 more left. And I think I'm the only person in my family doing technology. I've actually been doing tech related subjects for a long time. Like ever since I was probably year 4 or...
Whoa.
Yeah, we had this thing called Geek Camp.
Geek Camp?
Yeah, Geek Camp. It was...
In year 4, how old are you in year 4? 5, 6, 8?
I don't know. I'm not good at
I
maths.
actually had to bring out my fingers to do that. 5, 6, wow.
Yeah, so we went to Geek Camp because my primary school introduced the program to us. Basically, it was teaching kids from year 4 to year 8 about robotics or like programming. So that's why when I joined Geek Camp, that's where I got my interest in animation and game development and robotics. So that continued until year 8, where I kept up with robotics. That was like my main thing. I thought I was going to be part of like the robot area, but I didn't do so well with the programming. So that's why I had to take computer science in high school. So I did computer science, digital technologies, animation and game development.
Whoa.
And a bit of art design. So as you can see from my high school
That's amazing.
No, I'm sitting out like, oh my gosh, like, what school did you go to? Where did you grow up?
Oh, I went to Out College.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're not really well known for their subjects, but I do think they have really good tech subjects going on there. I've been in Mangere from like birth. Oh, not really from birth. I was born in Wellington.
Yeah.
But I've been living here for like majority of my life anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, rep 275.
Hey.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's majority of my subjects have been tech related. So that's why I kind of like finalized in my mind that I wanted to go in that field anyways. My first choice was software development. But then as I saw, like I got more exposure to the job.
Yeah.
I kind of realized I didn't like it as much. It wasn't as interesting as I felt when I like saw the other subjects in Geek Camp.
Yeah.
So then I decided to change my path in like the design area.
Yeah.
So that's why in uni I'm studying digital design.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's
Yeah.
insane. I'm literally listening. In year 4, you were being exposed to robotics. Like, what was that like? What were you working on?
Oh, they got these little like, so it's kind of like Lego pieces, but they're not really Lego pieces. You just have to assemble the robot yourself, and it can be like any design you want. But they taught us about like the physics of the robot. So like when you're programming it, obviously like if it's heavier on one side, it'll like be unbalanced. Yeah, so basically we're just learning about the structure of a robot, and then we also learned a bit about the programming. We used JavaScript. I think, we did JavaScript first,
Yeah.
but then we also learned a bit about Scratch.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Scratch?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay, so Scratch is like, it's kind of like a baby programming program. Yeah, and then you have like this little cat icon. That's how you can recognize it's Scratch. But yeah, so we did that in year 4, and they kind of continue to teach us about it for like 4 years. Yeah, so that's how I got into robots.
No, that's. I'm still letting that like sink in to the fact that that's incredible that you had such an opportunity really early on to be exposed to the space to the point where for you it just made sense that you were going to follow that.
Yeah, and I mean like tech subjects are actually really interesting, but it's just I don't think like there's not enough schools that teach it in a way that interests the kids. Because I know a couple of the kids in my primary school, they didn't know about Geek Camp because obviously from the name, it sounds really lame, so why would anyone want to go to it? But I guess when it was my turn to like promote the camp in year 8, I guess they saw that it was kind of interesting. But still it had that persona that's like for the dorks, the nerds. Which I was, but like it doesn't matter.
I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. So Geek Camp's cool.
That's amazing. I'm curious to know, like, you're in AUT now doing digital design. Like, how many other people around you do or like in your course at the moment, are there a lot of other Pacific Islanders or Māori that you've met or know of that are in the same subjects as you?
Like only one girl. I haven't because there's over 80 kids in my class, but from everyone that I've seen on the webcams and like the names, there's barely any Islanders.
Wow.
It was a bit shocking, but then I kind of got used to the fact that there's no one in my culture there. So I just talk Samoan in the group chat. I mean, like, who else is gonna know about me? So, in my last year of high school, they started introducing Discord groups. So that became like the new form of class information. Yeah. So
At school, at high school.
yeah, they created like a Discord help chat. So like most of people in my year were in that Discord help chat. So then I was kind of surprised that uni was doing the whole Discord group thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's kind of cool at the same time because it's like, I guess most kids in my year are used to it. So they understand how it works and stuff and be interested to do it. So yeah.
So when you Discord. I love that you do Discord. When you left high school, like, what were a lot of your peers or what were your peers interested in or following as pathways?
Everyone's doing health and
Interesting.
yeah, they're doing health and law and business.
So that's honestly, that's what we almost say is that the traditional pathways are still for a lot of communities law, medicine, finance because more, and business because more it's going to have dollars to it.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to hear that in your generation, in your, like, what would have been last year, those were still the most common pathways to pursue.
Yeah.
So you were the anomaly.
Yeah.
You were the unicorn.
I mean, everyone keeps asking me, like, how do I expect to get money from it? And
They don't
like,
know?
Yeah, they don't know about it. So I was like, I don't really have to explain myself, but I guess I should. But I never did because I don't feel like I need to explain where my pathway will take me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's probably good to like promote how wide of a range technology is, but at the same time, I'm just like, do your own research, please. Like, why do I have to explain it to you?
Sad, Faith. How did you find out about like the pathways that were available to you though? Like, how did you know that you were going to get a job and you were going to make some money out of it?
Honestly, I didn't know, but
Amazing.
I didn't know, but I guess when doing activities that involved my subjects, you kind of get to meet people who are in those career pathways. So obviously I would talk about it with them and ask, like, do they like their job? What do they do? What's their annual? Because obviously I'm for the money, but because obviously I wouldn't want to do something I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
So I want to see, like, do they enjoy their jobs? Like, how long have they been doing it?
Cool.
We also got people from AE2 come in and talk to us about the subjects.
Nice.
So I guess that was probably like the biggest place where I asked questions.
Yeah.
And why I chose AE2 because the guy came in and he talked about it.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome. I feel like we should ask Ruby those same questions, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Do you want to go, Faith? You ask.
I forgot the question.
What do you do? Do you love your job?
Oh, yeah.
How much? What's your annual? You don't have to ask that. You don't have to answer that.
Yeah, I was kind of relating to your pet, because at that time everyone's sort of like, I need to know what I'm doing with my life, and I get this feeling that we're all sort of like putting on adult costumes and pretending, you know, and trying to like mimic these conversations that we hear our parents having or whatever. And it was buzzy because I didn't really think the same way that everybody else did, and that was kind of true during high school as well. Because I was spending all my time doing music and woodwork, and everyone's going like, how are you going to make a living out of that?
Is that question, eh? Like, where are you going? Like, I will never forget. Yeah. I literally did law because I knew that if you said law to an adult, they'd leave you alone.
Yeah, they wouldn't question it.
They would never question it. So I watched everyone else write down what they were going to go study. I just copied the chick next to me, and she was doing law, psychology.
Oh, wow.
And what was the other one? Look at me. I think it was commerce or like business or something.
Ah, yeah.
So I just copied her because I was like, no one questions her when she says, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Oh, no, it was political science. Political science, I didn't even know what that was. I did not even know what that was, but I just knew that if you said it to an adult, the adult would leave you alone. And I was like, sweet, I want that life. Because it's hard when adults ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or where are you going to go? Or what are you passionate about?
Yeah, it's intense. It's very intense, those questions, when you're that age. My principal, I remember her saying a speech, and she said that something like, I can't remember exactly, but something like in your lifetime, like you'll change your careers like 15 times.
Yeah.
And she said, and she told us that, and so I remembered that because then I thought about it and I was like, if I'm going to change my career 15 times, why would I now, as a 16-year-old, choose subjects that are going to lead me to a degree that's going to lead me to a specific job if I'm just going to change it and then change it and then change it and then change it and then do that 15 times? So I was like, it probably makes more sense if I study things that I'm good at because I like them. Because I'm engaged when I do that, and I learn because I want to be there. Yeah. So music and woodwork happened to be the two subjects because I also really connected with the teachers and the spaces I felt really comfortable in. And I don't know, it just worked out. It just worked out that way for me.
Exactly.
Right.
Just
and
do
then,
what you like.
Yeah, and then when people would ask me, like, oh, how are you going to be a music teacher? And I'm like, well, maybe. I don't know. Or like, oh, are you going to go on X Factor? And I was like, well, no, I'm not going to do that.
No.
Wasn't not my path.
What happened to the maybe?
I did really think about it one time and it drove me insane. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But that was an interesting process, sort of feeling like, you know, like towards the end of high school, starts feeling very like super important that you know what and it's like this, like leaving your whole schooling time behind is like, that's all you've ever known, and now you got to go out into the world and like, what is the world? And
They kind of just throw you in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then everyone's asking you all these questions and you're just like, I don't know, I'm asking myself the same questions. So anyway, to answer your question, I chose to do things I liked doing.
Yeah.
And then I guess I just connected with people that I connected with and just remained open to experiences. And I am somehow sitting on this couch talking to you about my tech job. which
is a real
cool.
thing. It's a real thing. You had the tech job.
But back then, like, that was not a concept that I kind of had. So, yeah, you just don't know. Then I think that's what I sort of started to realise is that, okay, I don't know what job I'm going to have.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'll just do what I like doing and we'll see how it goes.
And maybe that like leads to the next question, which is, what do you love about having a tech job that also just happens to be in the music scene? Because where you're at and as a space, and I think that's the really interesting thing is, right, so often people think of like tech as like one size fits all. Like there's one place in which tech can be, and it's in a tech company, not realizing necessarily, or not even being exposed to, there's a music company that uses tech as a tool. So it's actually music and tech. It's not just one or the other. Or there is, like we were interviewed at Tausani before, and he works at a farming company to a certain degree that uses technology, and so he's an agro-tech. And that there's actually different, like tech is an umbrella, there's heaps of different spaces within them that you can go and like tutu and play in and find out that there's jobs in. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I guess because Melodics is in the music tech industry, it's I guess like my job, like I'm sort of like a specialist in terms of the music element of the company, but so my knowledge, my specialist knowledge is music related, and then the tech part of it is something I have had to sort of like learn. I mean, I had to learn the music side of it as well, but it kind of makes sense that I guess a lot of things incorporate digital technology. So I guess if you have a product that is digital, then whatever your product is doing, it might intersect a different industry or something like that. So I mean, I found it quite fascinating to like understand that through being in amongst that, because I didn't really realise it like at the start when I was doing it. And it's funny because like I don't know how to write code. I know a little bit of like Neither.
What do I just have to use JSON files, which is
I have no idea.
What's that based on?
I don't know.
I don't understand all of that. The cool thing is that if I wanted to, there's lots of people I know who I could ask, and at Melodics everyone is so helpful with like teaching and sharing and stuff like that. But vice versa, like if someone who's not in the music team or doesn't have or has questions about music, like please ask me. Like I'm so happy to talk about it and encourage you. And there's like that back and forward. So the crossover of
cross-pollination.
Is like really cool.
And something I only found out when I got into tech was that you can be non-technical. Like I do not know how to code. I didn't do comp sci or software engineering. I don't know if maybe they're the same things. I did not do any of those things, but I worked in tech and I worked overseas, and I kind of was good at the job space and got promoted and paid really well, but I didn't have technical skills. And I almost wonder how many people don't necessarily know that you can be non-technical and not, I know even that's like super loaded, right? Like you're non-technical, but you can bring different skills that don't represent technical skills and not only like survive, but also have your own space to own within an organization, like within a business. Did you find that?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like kind of, especially as the team's growing, and then all these like little names, like roles, right?
Yeah.
These little roles kind of come up.
All these little names.
Yeah. Or you're just in Slack and they're like, the director of, chief officer of this. And I'm like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
And so I guess like it's like you're just like part of this team.
Yeah.
And you have, you're there because you know about something.
Yes.
Or you know how to do something.
Yeah.
So that doesn't have to be like computer related or software related or whatever. It could be like, well, yeah. What skills do you think you had?
Oh my gosh.
That helps you never like.
I mean, my role was a strategic planner, which is like, what does that even mean?
What is that?
I know. And then it became an insights manager, which is like, what does that even mean? But my whole role and like my job basically meant I was the voice of the consumer. So my job was to bring the insights or essentially just like information about people to a room. That was my role. Like there was sales, there was marketing, there was engineering, product, there was like all these different roles. And my role was to be like, through this research that we've done or through this understanding that we have around females aged between 18 and 30, they do not want to have hyper masculine content thrown at them because that doesn't resonate to them. Or it's like this generation or this demographic or this group or like this community is not motivated by those values that we're trying to say are important. And therefore our products don't relate to them. Us as a brand, they don't want to be seen to associate themselves with us. And so that was my job. It's like, what?
So like relating to people.
That's my
and
job.
Representing people and seeing them,
Somehow I'm good at that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Do you value something in there? Like,
I think I find it like it's a deep honor to be able to build a rapport and understanding of people and then hold that precious sort of understanding and pass that on. What I found really hard, and I think this is just something to my own personal values, was that, you know, because I cherish that relationship and being that bridge between human and tech so much, I really struggled to pass it on to a company that was run by like a super wealthy CEO and board and investors, and they were the ones that were benefiting from these stories. I'm like, this is not serving humanity and making sure that the world becomes a more equitable and just place. But I found that out only once I was in the rooms of this tech organization. But I was like, I don't want to use my skills and I don't want to pass through these stories or these insights to a place that ultimately only cares about money. That's not, because I cherish that so much, and I cherish the fact that somehow I'm good at those things. I'm good at being a translator of those things. I don't want to support something that I don't really want to see win. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's something that I found out only through once I got into tech, and I still like, I will always hold true to that moment of when I found out I got in. I was like, what the like, what are they smoking out in California? I don't know. Like, how the heck did I get in?
Me? Really?
Yeah, really. That's honestly. And then honestly, for the first, like, because my probation period, or like you know how you have like the 90-day trial of any new job, you're on a trial, or like they watch you or whatever. Mine was 6 months.
Ooh. Wow, that's a long time.
6 months. but the job was in London.
Yeah.
So I moved my whole life from Sydney to London, knowing that for 6 months, I don't even know what's going to happen. You know, like if I mess up, they can fire me and drop me like that. And then I have to pay them back for relocating me. I have to, it was like, and I didn't know anyone over in the UK. And I have a British passport because of my mum, but I didn't know nothing about that space, like at all. And that was wild. That was like super wild. But I was like, far out. Like I don't want to lose out on this opportunity. And at least just giving it a go, right? Like I think that's the big thing about in some sense of this industry is that there's a whole bunch of people that don't really know what's happening, don't really know what's going on. It's moving so fast. It is about the future, and no one owns the future. The future isn't owned by anyone, and we all can be part of figuring out what that looks like. And there is no right way. There is no necessarily like best practice. It's just a whole bunch of people, usually around a table with some post-it notes.
I mean, what even is the future?
What even is the future, right? We can definitely go on a tangent there.
Is it? Sorry, don't get me started.
But yeah, that was like, it was wild to me that there are so many roles inside of this industry that aren't related to technical skills, but still absolutely have their place and have their home and have a really bright path ahead of them too. That was always really wild to me.
Yeah.
But Faith, I want to ask you, you know, I'm still and will always be blown away by the levels of exposure you've had with tech from such an early age. And now you're sitting here in your first year, you're the one of two in this space that's also representing your community and your culture. Like, how does that feel for you?
Partly sad, but at the same time, I'm actually kind of stoked because, like, if you think about it, you would have never even thought about girls in general being a part of that space. So it was kind of nice to hear that even if it's just one person, at least it's another girl, like you're another brown girl with me. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But I can see from the younger generation, obviously kids in high school now.
Yeah.
I do have a few connections with students in Aorere.
Yeah.
And to hear that they're still like aiming towards like a technological background, I was like, that's pretty good. Like,
that's amazing.
That's slow progress, which means that like later on, more kids would be interested in actually joining this career pathway.
Yeah.
So I would say a little sad, but at the same time kind of proud that I get to be like one of many in this space.
You are a role model.
Oh, thank you. Stop. But yeah.
I'm sorry. How many awards did you win at the end of your year 13 year?
Let me think. I won one for art design. I forgot, to be honest.
I actually have them on my phone. Head girl.
Head girl.
You won one for art design. You won one for performing arts as well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
You've won an AUT scholarship. You won multiple scholarships as well.
Yeah.
You've also got a full scholarship for university too. Like, amazing. You are a role model.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Thank you.
No student loan.
Yeah, exactly. And you won me. Nah, jokes. Oh, wow.
I guess you've actually been a really big help with like introducing me to all these people and these connections, because I am not really social. I am very, very introverted. It takes a while for me to warm up to people. So obviously being around Julia and seeing how she's friends with practically everyone we meet, it kind of got me like thinking that I really need to like open myself up and like make connections, because connections are really important in this industry. They are very important. So I think that's my biggest takeaway from obviously Julia being one of my mentors, well, my only mentor, to be honest. So that's like the business side of like the social part of technology I wasn't used to, because I'm kind of the hands-on technology type. So that was a bit new for me. But yeah, it's crazy to see how like there's so many areas to it. So yeah.
Where do you, and again, I know this is like we just talked about, I hate it when the big adults say, what do you want to be when you grow up? But I am curious, because I do know you are ambitious and you are driven as well. And I'm curious to know, is there any particular space or place, or is there anything that for you right now seems interesting?
Seems interesting.
Because that's like trying to frame it without having heaps of pressure, but I don't know if that landed very well. So up to you how you want to answer.
I'm interested in a lot of spaces, but I kind of let myself focus that if I enjoy what I'm doing, then I'm going in the right direction. So I don't want to give myself like a end point that I should reach.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a go with the flow. If this happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, then obviously it doesn't. So right now I'm just focusing on getting through uni, but I haven't really made a firm endpoint.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a beautiful
the
answer.
best way to put it.
Yeah. And what have you, because I know you've shown me a couple of your projects, what have been some of the things that you've enjoyed creating up until this point?
Creating. I would say I was a part of a production, a very large production that went to travel New Zealand. And I think creating, that was my first big animating scene that I ever had to make.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had to animate a little scene in the production, and that was my first time making a 4-minute animation. And let me tell you, animating takes a long time. It takes such a long time. And because I had to draw it by hand, it took even longer. But this was during
4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes. So this was during quarantine, because we had a show and they told me on spot that I had to make this 4-minute scene. So obviously I had to just go into it and just do it. But luckily lockdown hit and I could do it completely in 2 months, which is very hard.
That is huge.
Yeah, so that was probably my favorite, but I feel like my most aesthetically pleasing to myself was my level 3 art board that we did for design. It was a promotion for a LGBT fairy tale type of book.
Wow.
And I got to create like all the book related stuff for it and the posters. So that was my favorite art piece, but my favorite piece would be the animation.
Hey.
But yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank
Do you know what I
you.
love is the fact that like maybe without even consciously thinking about it, you're already a creator in the industry. Like you don't need a job title to define you as a creator or a creative, right? You just are. And I love hearing these examples of that because I think it reminds us, and especially for myself, that obviously, cliche, your job doesn't define you, and your ability to contribute to an industry or to the world or to the space is not at all connected to having the label of, I work at this company with this job and this salary. It's like, no, you are able to do, you have agency to do that at any point. At any point. Cool. What about you, Ruby? What have been some cool things you've enjoyed creating, being part of, music or tech or both?
Yeah. I play in some bands.
Hey.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So how do you, question on that.
Yeah.
So you work in tech.
Yeah.
That's your day job.
That's my day job.
That's the day job, pays the bills. And then you're also part of bands.
Yeah.
And I know that you also do gigging. I was saying, you do gigging? Like,
Yeah.
I put that
I'm a
bag-
gigger.
You're a gigger. It's embarrassing. You do shows?
I play shows.
You play shows?
Yeah, I play shows.
So like multifaceted?
Well, yeah, so, my beginnings,
Yeah.
music, woodwork.
Yes. Music, woodwork, yes.
Then I kind of went on more of a music trajectory.
Yeah.
So I was studying songwriting and have been writing songs since I was
Wow.
in high school.
Yeah.
Or maybe even earlier than that. Yeah, no, I probably wrote someone else. Yeah, so anyway. So songwriting was sort of the buzz.
Yeah.
But I haven't released music
Yeah.
as my own solo project,
Yeah.
which was always sort of the original kind of plan.
Yeah.
But somewhere along, going to uni,
Yeah.
studying songwriting, writing songs and performing them, but then also playing in other people's bands,
Yeah.
and playing other like instruments
Yeah.
and things like that, and then leaving uni and then going into melodics,
Yes.
and then the creative projects I've done have, a lot of them really have been helping other people
Cool.
do
Wow.
their thing. So like I would consider melodics a similar thing.
Yeah.
But each thing that I do is like an opportunity to, I guess, like express my values and the skills that, and this is kind of what I was maybe thinking about before when I was asking you. Because there's just the things that I liked to do, the things that I'm curious about, and then an opportunity will come along and someone says, hey, do you want to write some code for this thing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I can't do that, but I can do this. And then you go and you learn some other skills, you meet some people, and then you go to the next thing. And I'm sort of just doing that. And so I've played in a few bands, and currently I play in a band called Dateline, and another band called Lips.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
What do you play?
yeah, I play bass guitar in both of those bands. I really like playing the bass,
Yeah.
I've come to realise.
Hey.
So that's really nice. And I like playing in those bands. Dateline, I write my bass parts
Yeah. Wow.
and record. And then Lips, I don't. I play the music live.
Yeah. Whoa.
But maybe that will change in the future. So
What I love about this is that, I mean, I know I have anyway thought you have to give up a passion if it can't make you money, or like you have to not pursue a thing if it doesn't have security around it. And I really love the fact that I mean, not that there was a rule book, but you have designed your life in a way that you can live your values. They can be sort of connected to one another, obviously, and supporting of one another, and that you are able to just, treat them like creative projects when you can live out your values, learn from, grow within, in parallel. It's not an and or the one or the other.
yeah, right. Yeah, I guess like I have this opportunity in music tech that if I really went for it, there's like opportunity that lies ahead for me. But I think because I've always just like been interested in music, and then interested in connecting with people and helping people, that, and I guess creatively my dreams are to sort of be my own entity that be an artist essentially. But I have this opportunity to work at Melodics, and it's constantly throwing me these challenges that put all of those skills to the test, and it will always come back to music and people. So yeah, I could maybe dedicate all my time and energy and be very driven to climb a music tech ladder, maybe. But I don't really have that impulse. I also could knuckle down and be a bass player.
Yes.
I think I really admire people that can do that are just very like, and now I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. But I don't know, I like to just go to work, do my job. At this point, do my job, play in my bands. Occasionally people will be like, hey, do you want to do audio I work on this project called Trash Recital as well, which is a web series where we interview musicians.
Cool.
And get them to play their songs using trash,
That is so cool.
which is really fun. And my job is to do the sound
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
and mix the audio.
Whoa.
And I don't really have like trained music mixing skills and things like that. But the situation, I sort of have this checklist in my mind in terms of what projects I will say yes to.
Yeah, cool.
They're just values. So basically, people that I really want to spend time with. Because you're gonna spend a lot of time with these people, so you wanna. It's social, right?
Yeah.
So like my social needs are coming from these projects as well. Spending a lot of time with these people, doing something kind of new.
Yeah. Yes.
Kind of new, and then just an opportunity to connect skills. So this web series ticked all those boxes because I know enough to do it, but I don't fully know, and it's a different kind of it's a crossover, cross-pollination of zones, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna learn a bit about video and maybe like music media and things like that as well.
Amazing.
So I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll do that. So yeah, there's a few little things that I do, and I feel like I'm not really super driven yet, maybe, to like work towards this big thing. At this point in my life, I think I'm just sort of getting experience and like connecting with people and kind of figuring it out. But that's always going to be my vibe and way of doing it.
Yeah.
And like I'm still very passionate and driven.
Yeah.
It just I'm also
I mean, clearly you
like
just
doing
said
lots of
like
different things.
3 or 4 full-time jobs, kind of.
Literally.
one. No, they're all kind of part time. Yeah. Then other than that, I like to just chill.
How do you feel kind of hearing this, Faith? Like, what's...
That's a lot. Wow. I am kind of learning on how to manage my time properly. So hearing that you have so much, it's like, wow. I don't think current me would be able to do it, but I feel like if I get better at managing my time, I could probably do that as well. That sounds really fun though. Like, I would totally love to do that type of stuff. But like, I think my favorite thing about the projects that you're doing is that like you aim to continuously learn about it, which is really nice. I was like, wow, that's really cool. You play bass.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thanks.
I know. You're welcome.
But time management, yeah, that is quite an important skill.
Yeah, it's hard. Like,
also, working at Melodics, that pays my bills and things like that.
I mean,
and that like I can be kind of chill and pick and choose the side stuff.
There are a few questions I have lined up. One, and I'll just tell you them so you can think about them. One is, what are the benefits of working in tech? And I think one of the things you're probably gonna like, I would assume and support is around salary, because
well, as a musician,
like salary and security in terms of it's a high growth sector as well, and that there's a level of knowing it's gonna not necessarily the product's gonna take off, but the sector itself is a growth sector. And then the other question I was gonna ask you as well would be is like, so Faith is sitting here in her first year, you're in the industry now and you've had 6-7 years of experience. Like, what would be some things that you'd pass on as learnings that you wish you had have known almost as well? And then I was also going to like potentially ask around just challenges about navigating the sector and the space as well.
Yeah, good questions.
So those, and they're all for you.
For me.
Yeah. And then one of the ones for you.
From me to Faith.
Yeah. It's like, I suppose, like, what are you looking forward to in your future to a certain degree? And potentially what are you, and this is a little bit already loaded, but like fearful of or mindful of as well was kind of two that I was thinking of as well. So we can just, I can just pick, or if any of them feel easy, we can start with them first. Yeah. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind.
I almost forgot what they were. I remember now.
You just got to ask me a question and then I'll go.
Cool.
And then stop me and then...
So being 6-7 years in,
yes,
Melodics, and I know Melodics is probably one of the top companies I would stand for in terms of values in this country in tech, both because of the leadership that I've had some time getting to know, and also because of what you share from your own lived experience? Because I think, leaders can gas themselves up like no tomorrow and drink their own Kool-Aid, but it's really what are the people think and experience. And I'd love to know from you, what are the benefits of working in tech, and specifically melodics, but just tech overall? What are the benefits that you've sort of uncovered?
I think for me, being into music, getting paid well for my skills is
huge.
A benefit.
Huge.
Yeah, and I think because I started so young and I've always done that, I would want to hear from a musician who's really just slogged it out as a musician and then got a tech job and then had that. And I know these people and that stability after, because I haven't really had to hustle as a musician, because I've had this consistent job that had such a specialised need that so they're like, cool, keep doing it, and I'm like, really? Because I don't really know what I'm doing sometimes. But there's been a lot of space for me in that, and because I think as a musician it's kind of hard to earn consistent paychecks. You're not on payroll unless you are, because you are a part of something. But I think if you're trying to be an independent artist or something like that, unless you're being funded by a label or something, you're super successful. Like, it can be really hard. So most musicians have day jobs. So the benefit for me working at Melodics is that I've not only had a day job to also do music stuff, I've had a day job that is like teaching me skills that contribute, and also providing so much resource that actually, like, getting NFRs for like music software and things like that. Like, these are and hardware as well. Like, take this home, you're gonna need it for your job, but also just take it home because it's fun. And then I'm like, cool, I take it home, and then I go take it to a gig and I'll play the instrument on stage, and I'm like, I wouldn't have had $1,000 to buy this. Like, so that's been amazing. And
that sounds life-changing to me, or like maybe not life-changing, but like almost life-enabling in some ways.
And it's almost overwhelming because there's just so much stuff I could get into. And then I sometimes pinch myself and I'm like, how did I end up here? Because I know so many talented musicians who could do this job. And
there's something that we discussed in a different talanoa, which was like, I asked this question, how did it feel, or what was your big break? Like the big break in your career that sort of kind of just almost like blew everything up and like built this new path or this new, space for you to step into. And when I was hearing some of the stories, what came out of it is it's not even you were given the break, but you also built your own break. Like, you also had to work hard to gain skills, to be in a space, and to hustle your way into opportunities. And I'm curious to know what it feels like for you when you hear that around, like, how did it feel when you met your CEO, Sam, and he was like, yeah, okay, I guess, like, let's do this. Like, what was that like for you?
It was pretty chill. Like, I didn't really know what I was signing up for. I just couldn't comprehend what we were doing.
Wow.
Really. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because I didn't come into this going like, cool, I want a job in music tech. Like, this is my big break. I'm gonna. I know I've studied. I didn't know.
And now you're here and you're pinching yourself like, damn, this was pretty good. Like, thank you, past Ruby. Like.
I don't know. If I was to think of like a big break, like I probably would think back to high school, where I had been like writing songs in my room, practicing, and like wanting to be noticed as a student who wanted to perform. And for a year, in year 9 and year 10, or a bit of year 10, I like wasn't, and then there was an opportunity to perform, and then my music teacher was like, Ruby's really like into this, like I should like give her more opportunities. And that for me felt like a break, but then everything else is just being consequential.
Wow.
Like it's kind of just...
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
I mean, I've done some cool things that have like been like, whoa, but it's all just kind of like this big ride. Yeah.
And what do you think have been some challenges that you've found as you've navigated this ride? Yeah. Well, I think leaving school and sort of just being, I want to do something in music, like probably like performing, writing music, being in a studio, and then ending up in an office. Yes.
You know, office. It's not really. I mean, Milux is kind of.
You guys got vibes,
like,
though. You got a vibey spot.
If you need a break, you can go play an instrument.
Yeah.
But ending up in like a kind of computer job kind of thing. At 19, like I have those have been very formative years to now, like 19 to 26, I think.
Hugely formative years.
Yeah, like when I started, like I didn't fully understand who I was.
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand society and all of the power dynamics and things and all of these things. I was sort of just like Ruby, which is cool because that's really, you know, at the end of the day, who you are. You are just yourself. And then you go into these environments where you have to fulfill a role and I don't know, there's all conditioning and all of these things.
Bureaucracy, politics.
All these big words. Power dynamics and...
People have, like, unspoken ways of doing things. Like, people don't... No one gives you a handbook of, this is how you navigate an office.
Yeah.
And, like, you say these things, and this is what people mean, and this is how you write an email. Like, even the email stuff. That's just like a whole nother language.
Yeah, or the coffee machine.
Or the coffee
I don't know how to make coffees. For like 2
I still
years.
don't.
Yeah. So the challenge was to adapt to the environment, but maybe also the challenge was for the environment to adapt to me.
Come on.
Yeah. You know, because I started when it was like a startup and there weren't many people. So there was me and then 5 other people. And I think maybe there was more, I don't know, but kind of at the time it felt like me and these 5 other people. And, you know, I was like this 19-year-old person. Wow. And then I was working with people who'd worked in other companies, you know, and they like had kids. They were like new dads. It was like kind of this bunch of cool, techie, music-y new dads.
Wow.
And they're all so lovely.
Yeah.
So lovely and really fun. But you know, there's some obvious differences there.
Just a little bit, eh?
So I think the challenge was growing up in this environment and learning about, you know, like things like that you learn when you get to this age and you really care about and you're really passionate about, like, you know, gender inequality and racism and justice, exactly. And then you start to understand like the identity that the world puts on you and how you represent that, and then how there's things operating against you, and then you start to see them in your workplace and you start to have these moments of awareness.
Disillusionment too, though.
Yeah, and it's hard.
Oh, it's
hard for some of us.
No, for I'm in that camp. The suffering.
It's buzzy. It's very buzzy, and so that's challenging, because I went through these processes of becoming very aware of identity, and then you kind of like have these moments where you stop seeing your colleagues as the people that they are, and you see them representing these oppressive figures and things like that, and not because of what they're doing consciously, but just because of how you're, maybe this is just me, I don't know, but you get weird about how you relate to people, and then I think at the end of the day you got to realise that you're people and you got to share a space and get along. So it's hard though when you don't feel like you have the agency to speak up and represent your values and have the space mirror that. So it really does feel like a place that you belong in. and that I think that a lot of that comes from your own growth
Yeah.
and your own confidence.
Yeah.
And then also the people who hold the majority of the power in that environment to support you and clear that path for you so that you can,
That was beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I do know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So,
but I also wanted to. I also wanted
I don't know. It's a humbling experience.
Yeah, well, there's so many good layers, and I really felt like I went on a full TED talk just then.
Yeah.
Like I often do when I sit down and spend time with you, Rubes.
Same, I feel like I'm giving a TED talk.
That was a whole thing. I'm gonna take that out, and I'm gonna definitely be carrying that with me in my heart for like the longest time now. Faith, how do you feel kind of hearing that?
I kind of like, I already knew like going into like being straight put into the adult world, obviously it's completely different from the children dynamics. I mean, I've only worked like one part-time job and I hated it because of the people. But hearing that your experience as like kind of trying to figure your way out in your own adulthood and like working experience, I was like, wow. I was like, man, when I get through that, I don't think I'll be able to handle it. But obviously, maybe it's different for how I would react to your situation, only because I feel like I don't think I would be able to just handle that straight away. I feel like it'll take me a while to just get into it. And you started at 19. Like, oof.
I mean, I don't know if I was really handling it the whole way, you know, like, because in amongst, I don't know, it might be that I'm just kind of like quite an emotionally expressive person or whatever, or that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at putting up a wall and being like, I got to do my work because I have to. I'm like, but I'm heartbreak, or like, but I'm just my sexuality. You know what I mean? Like all of these, all of these things, and then you come to work, and then you're like, none of you would relate to me. But it's like, it's just dramatic when you're growing up through that stuff. But I'm so lucky that the people I worked with were like actually really empathetic towards all of that stuff.
Wow. What would you share as lessons learned, or like what do you wish you knew? And I know that's, you know, hindsight is a beautiful thing, but I suppose as you're passing on wisdom out of this experience, what would that be?
Yeah. I think if you're there, wherever you are, say in a job or part of some project or something, and you're there,
and I'm there,
then you're the one there. So if you you're the one there, not somebody else, because I think what happens, you get imposter syndrome. You know what I mean? Like you start thinking like, well, why am I the one in the room? And like that might also be because just things are going on in your life, because it's a formative time. You've moved out of home. You're like trying to embark on some this is who I am journey, you know, and then sometimes that just kind of crumbles and then you have to build again. Whatever happens, wherever you are, you're the one who's there. And so you just make the best of that opportunity, really.
Yeah. That's actually really good.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling like that last week.
Cool.
Because
I mean, not cool, but cool that I...
yeah, that's actually really good advice. Because sometimes I doubt, like, why am I given these opportunities when I do the bare minimum for all the stuff that I'm doing? So I'm gonna take that. Put it right here.
Yeah.
I don't know where your heart is, but somewhere. Somewhere here, you know?
Yeah, I know. Because sometimes like it's also not necessarily about like how well you can execute the project, but just your energy. You know, like how well because when you're working on something, if you've got shit going on, like that takes up bandwidth in your brain that you're not using on doing the job and getting into that flow state and stuff like that. So the group of people and the way that you all relate and the energy that you, like, that's gotta work. Otherwise, you're all just frustrated at someone because they're not playing like team player or whatever the situation is. And so I think there's like, you know, the skills you have and what you can do, but then there's also just how you fit into the organism, into the team and something. So, and I think that's really important to focus on, because it's like compassionate, you know, because people, you get, there's this whole like, you know, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this career, and I'm going to climb this ladder, I'm going to succeed. But we all have shit days. We all go through things. So you want to be in an environment that like allows you to be a human, you know, and that your value isn't just on your output.
Productivity,
Or isn't just on your input, actually. Isn't just what you like put in. It's also about like just how it, maybe we got this around the wrong way, but you know, it's you're respected, and that
beautiful.
you do that for other people. So there's harmony in the organisation or the group that you're.
And I feel like that's maybe it's a question I don't ask enough, and almost is so important around what have you learnt about what to say yes to and what to say no to, because that's you know, I struggle a lot with that, especially when opportunities arise, and not necessarily that I'm trying to always find them, but sometimes that they find you, and then reminding yourself that you have the ability to evaluate these opportunities. Like, you don't have to just say yes because they showed up and someone's offering to take you to Motap, but you don't even know who they are.
Excuse me, anyways.
No, okay, that can get cut. But that when opportunities come to you, that you can actually evaluate, and when jobs come to you, or when you know, just because we may be in the minority of a lot of these spaces and represent, you know, people and lenses and experiences that also don't reflect these power dynamics that are also offering us these opportunities, you know, you get the choice to evaluate them as much as they are obviously evaluating you and deciding, does this, and I love what you brought about earlier, Ruby, about are these people that I want to spend time with?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I even ask myself that question enough. You know, is this work that I really want to be doing? Is this in my strengths? Is this in my passion area? Am I helping someone, the planet, to be what I want it to be, or what I want to pursue and be part of? And all of those questions are so like critical, and perhaps get lost in translation a little bit, and as you get caught up in the kind of, I don't know, just the hype of that moment of like, whoa, oh, this has just come up. What are you looking forward to Faith?
What am I looking
forward
to? I guess seeing where I end up in the near future, and where it takes me and who it lets me meet. I guess that's what I'm the most excited about, and kind of seeing my my technical skills grow, because I don't know, like what I'm seeing right now is probably what I think is my best output, but then I feel like in the future, when I'm seeing, like when I'm doing new stuff and everything, obviously my skills would be improved. So I just can't wait to see that. Because I just love recording my progress. Because I have like a little log entry where I do my own stuff. Anyways.
Cool.
That's what I'm
amazing.
excited for.
No, I feel like can we see that? Can I?
Oh no, you can't.
Cool. Bad question.
Just for you.
Just for you.
Yeah, it's for
That's
me.
awesome.
Amazing.
That's cool practice.
I'm exciting.
Thanks. You're
I'm excited to also see this progress, and also maybe like it may end up being in a portfolio that others can see this.
Oh yeah, hopefully, but not right now.
Yeah, cool. What are you feeling, I don't know, like mindful of as you're also navigating your current journey in the next couple of years?
Oh, mindful. Definitely, like what you guys said, what to say, like yes or no to, and really like evaluating, should I put myself in that space? Because I know there have been a couple opportunities that I've been offered, but really like looking at the space, it doesn't seem really healthy for me.
Ooh.
Which is probably what I'm being the most mindful of right now, is who I let myself interact with, because there are some people out there, you know?
Yo.
They're just praying for you to fail.
Yo.
So I'm just being really careful about who I let myself interact with and what I let myself be influenced by.
Ooh.
There are just a couple people who want me to enter spaces I should not be entering right now.
Yeah.
So I obviously, it's just being cautious. That's what I'm thinking of, being mindful of. Yeah, that's me.
You are so wise.
Thank you. I know. Just joking.
Iconic. What are some advice that you would give to yeah, but literally, sorry, so what would be some, if you could share advice to other Māori or Pacific or just people interested in this space, whether or not it's tech, whether or not it's music tech, or whether or not it's honestly just in navigating those formative years, you know, and navigating those formative years, I suppose, what would you share?
Like to get into tech?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, or just even if they were transitioning out from university into their first job as well, like, because it could be, you know, a tech job isn't always going to be labeled a tech job, or it's, you know, it's work, career, life.
Yeah. Ooh, I really asked for this question.
Yeah, you did, eh?
While I was here. I guess finding community. Yeah. Finding community because I think through community you can find a little more about who you are as well. And I think that's kind of important because we're probably all secretly asking that question.
Yeah.
Focus on the learning,
Yeah.
and there will always be challenges, and like it's freaky to be like, if I choose this, then I'm not choosing that, which means I won't have that pathway.
Yeah.
But you just don't know.
You don't know.
What's gonna happen.
You don't know.
You might start teaching finger drumming. Like, you just don't know. You don't know. Like, you really don't know, because the only thing you know is now.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, it's intimidating to start and to choose, and like, I think the thing to that you're learning is what you're experiencing now, and sometimes that stuff doesn't make sense till later. You can't beat up on yourself for not doing one thing and doing something else, because each thing leads into the next thing. So maybe just understand that it's what you're learning at the time, and that sometimes it forms a picture and sometimes it doesn't, because it's actually just a small piece of the picture.
Love it.
Yeah.
Faith, you also, to your year 4 self, or to, because I'm even sitting here thinking like, you're a role model here and now, and what would you say to other young people in year 8, 9, 10, 11, any one of those years, around pursuing this path that you've pursued? Especially in your experience where, like, you know, when everyone else is going this way and you chose that way, and that's amazing, and that's like powerful that you have done that.
It would just be, have confidence in your choice, like be confident with what you're choosing to do, because obviously you are not going to be the exact same replica of another person's choice. So you just need to be confident in what you're choosing to do. And if it's not going how you want it to go, then okay, that's fine. Just redirect yourself. It's fine. It took me a while to accept that I will not be perfect at everything I do. I'm still trying to accept that I'm not perfect, but it's really annoying. But it's basically just, if you resonate with what you're doing, then obviously it's a sign you should be doing it. Because I don't know. But if you have no choice but to do it, then do it too. Who cares? Just like choose whatever. Yeah. Because I think for me, I was already interested in technology. And I mean, technology is everywhere. Yeah. And if you think about it with the pandemic and stuff, it played a major role in everyone's life. So like, you need to remember you will be involved in tech anywhere that you go.
Yeah.
Period. Slay. That's all I have to say. You're welcome.
Are we done? I feel like we're done. But I did actually have another question, which now it's gone. Oh, yes. Faith, from where you're sitting now as well, knowing that you are the future talent, not to put any pressure on you, I apologize for that too, but you are the talent that industry, the technology industry CEOs here and abroad want to hire, right? Like we're in a massive crisis of talent. There's not enough people that have the skills that are needed to basically, like you say, like move the world forward, because now everyone needs digital jobs inside of their organizations. What would you say to industry as you look at them and saying, I know you want me, but I actually need you to do XYZ for me to choose you?
Oh, okay.
If we shift the power dynamics, because that's true, you actually have power in this industry because you get to choose where you go and work.
So what would I say to industries about like getting workers, or about
But what do
wanting
they
me?
need to do to make you attracted to them?
First of all, respect. I will not work in a workspace that does not respect the human part of me, because I've just heard about a lot of jobs that are just ick, very ick. So first is respect. Respect your employees because they are working for you, you know? So why would I want to work with somebody who disrespects me? So that's the first thing. I would also say start investing in learning from the younger generation. Definitely communicating with your younger audiences, because a lot of elders expect that because they are older, they are somehow wiser. That is not always the case. So I feel like just opening up your brain and relating to others is a big thing for me. And also allow creativity to flourish where it does best, which is personal space. Like give me some personal space so I can do my job properly. And also, so I'm really big on creative freedom. So I feel like that should be a really big thing. And comfortability in the workplace. I don't understand dress codes. I can't wrap my head around why that's a big thing. I just feel like, why would you work in sweaty conditions? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, shouldn't they just rock up in pajamas or something? So that's why I feel like I'll just be my own boss instead, because not many companies I've heard of have what I want in mind.
I mean, you should come work at Melodics.
I should.
Like you can wear whatever you like.
No, but I love that, because again, I don't know if I could have answered that. Like, if I was in your shoes back when I was in my first year, I think I would have just been panicked. And I think that's also this shift in knowing your worth has really, I think that's just probably been one of the most beautiful things to have seen happen. And that, like, you're sitting there and you know your worth to a certain degree, right? Like, you've got that, like, if none of these options are suitable, I am perfectly capable to, like, look after me, to get my bag, to sort me out. I'm gonna do all of that. And that's thank you.
Yeah, it's cool that you know that you need to be comfortable to be able to create. I think that is really, like, not be good or better to create. It's actually to just be yourself. And if you can find a place that values you for who you are, then you'll give them what they need.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, why
That
would I work
makes
for
so
you?
much sense. I'm so on this buzz too. It's the way.
It's the ways.
It's the ways.
It's the way.